Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition to the Point Podcast. Hope you guys are all doing well on this Remembrance Day. It's the second of two podcasts today, so hope you guys are all enjoying the day off. But we're back this afternoon to talk some hockey. We got a lot of the seasons going. A lot of teams are struggling. Some are playing fantastic, like the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to dive into all that today. Talk division leaders, talk teams that we really like, disappointed so far. We'll also talk about Casey's Montreal Canadiens. But back on the pod by popular demand, my good friend Casey Ward. Casey, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Jug. Nice day to pay my respects. Think of all the nice freedoms and liberties that we have in our country, and just sit back and remember all the sacrifices made. Other than that, I've been hard at work getting some notes done for this pod, and doing some yard work and stuff. So looking forward to our chat today. Looking forward to getting the hockey combo going. So.
Yeah, before we go, did you have anybody in your family that was in the military, like serving in any of the world wars or anything like that?
I'm pretty sure my great grandmother's husband fought in the World War. I can't remember which one it was, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's important day for sure, and good to reflect on all those people, like you said, off the top. I also wanted to start the pod by just saying congratulations to friend of the podcast, Zach Fucali, because Washington recently this afternoon announced that he's going to be making his first career NHL start tonight. He's 26. He's bounced around. He went from the ECHL. He's played in Europe, Spangler Cups, obviously winning a World Junior gold medal with Team Canada. But he's battled through a lot. He was a great guest and on the pod, and really nice guy. I'm so thrilled that he's finally going to get to fulfill a lifelong dream.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember listening to the podcast when he was on. I thought it was awesome, and he just remember watching him with the Mooseheads when Sawyer and Trey were there. He's one of the better goalies I think I've watched go through that league, and it'll be interesting to see how he makes out tonight. Do you know who they're playing?
Detroit.
Oh yeah, perfect. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, crazy enough, Detroit's been scoring a lot of goals for Bertuzzi and Raymond and Sider have been tearing it up down there. But good luck to Zach. And I know this must be a special day for him. And just thanks for coming on, and hopefully I get to chat with him down the line again, just to ask him how this goes, because hopefully this is the first of many starts in the NHL.
That was a to the point bump right there.
Yes.
You got him into the league.
That's true. Yeah, maybe I got to get some more prospects on, because they'll get a look at the NHL level.
Caufield. Bring Caufield on.
Yeah, so let's start there. Last year you were hot on the Montreal Canadiens, as was I. You had them going to the Stanley Cup final, which you were correct on, so kudos to you. And this year has not gone as great as last season. It's pretty much a tire fire in Montreal right now. The best news that they have is that Carey Price is out of the player assistance program. And I said this morning, but kudos to him for opening up about what he's going through. That takes a lot of courage, and I think that's a positive thing. But it's a mess in Montreal. They can't score. They can't defend. Short-term case this season, where do you think this goes? Does it get any better for Montreal?
I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna get much prettier than what's going on right now. I think with you look at the team that they had last year in the playoffs: Philip Deneau, Shea Weber, Tatar.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Jeff Petrie that was playing good hockey. It just compared to that this year, especially without Price, it's just like a complete different team. All these young guys coming into the lineup, it's tough for them, but you got to get your licks in at some point. And I think Suzuki's played pretty. He's hit or miss some nights. He's either spot on and you notice him, or he's kind of ghosty. But I think it's kind of just a tire fire all around. Like Gallagher's got 5 points, Hoffman's got 5 points. I think the biggest highlight of the season was when Hoffman smashed his stick on the post and then flew into the boards.
Yeah.
pretty bad. I think that I love to see. I love Romanov too.
Yeah.
I like his game. Um, Maybe long term, I think maybe the Canadian, or not long term, but short term, maybe the Canadians flip him because he might have some upside to somebody that's in a looking for an offensive defenseman that they can kind of give him a little bit of leeway. But maybe I don't know. I think that the defense there has got to strengthen up for them to be turning it around.
Yeah. So a couple of things off your points. The Mike Hoffman signing made no sense to me at the time because I just think he's, how can I say this delicately? He's not the most energetic forward. He doesn't exactly give you a lot of effort when it comes to back check, or you see how much he cares. He breaks his stick and falls on his ass because he cares so much then. But yeah, Gallagher's been a disaster this season. And he's on a really bad contract for Montreal, and he's going to be there for a while. Christian Dvorak has not worked out.
No, not a good signing.
And I didn't like that at the time. I just said this seems desperate because they lost to No, and then KK left on obviously the offer sheet.
Yep.
And good for KK because he's on the best team in NHL. But I look at these four, even the David Savard signing, like everything they did has not worked. Like none of it has been a positive. And even with Carey Price, I don't think this team would be very good because number one, Carey Price hasn't been very good in the last 3 to 4 regular seasons. And who knows, maybe he comes up with an injury because he's been injury plagued as well over the last number of years.
Yeah, no, for sure. Carey's kind of getting on the he's starting to become the elder statesman in the league, right? He's been around the block for a little while, and injuries happen, especially when you get older. I'm surprised that the Savard trade hasn't worked out as well.
Yeah.
Coming from Tampa Bay, I thought he was like one of the better defensemen on the back end, shutdown wise. I think he held his own on that lineup, but I just it's hard to watch some of these games. Like the other night, they were in a close battle with the Kings, and I don't know. It's just like it seems like there's just something's missing, and I feel bad for Caufield getting gas canned after 10 games, and he's down in the minors. I hope that he can find his game because during the playoffs when he was around, I thought he was electric. So if he can kind of get his momentum going again, I think that if he gets called up, the Habs might have a little bit of life, but it's a tough look right now in Montreal.
Yeah, and not to mention they have a ton of injuries. Our guy Josh Anderson, who I'll admit hasn't had a great start to the season, is hurt. Joel Edmondson, who I think is super underrated, just how important this guy is on a game in, game out basis. He's injured. Matthew Perreault, former Bathurst Titan, he's out. And with the whole Caufield thing, he gets sent down after 10 games. First, did you think that was appropriate to send him down to Laval after 10 games, or would you have kept him at the NHL level?
Well, it's tough because it depends on the market. I think Montreal is a tough market to play in, especially as a young player. Like I was looking around some of the younger players in the league. Maxime Comtois for the Ducks.
Yeah,
I think the Ducks are one of the most surprising teams in the NHL right now, and I think Comtois is a great player. But I looked at his stats, and he's only got 1 assist in 12 games. But it's the same thing with Caufield. He had an assist, I think, in one of his first 4 games, and then after that, he kind of went silent again. It's just, I think it depends a lot on the market, and if you're not going to produce, then you're going to get demoted. And I don't know. I think eventually he's going to find his game, and I feel like he'll be back up before too long.
Yeah, I probably would have sent him down just because watching him play, he kind of looked lost out there. Like he wasn't getting good opportunities. And it doesn't help him that you're on a team that, let's just be blunt, they don't have a whole lot of creative forwards. I look, Anderson he doesn't create offense. He's more of a driver. Dvorak, I don't see him as very, Gallagher, he's not a guy that creates. He scores goals in tight. Hoffman, same thing. He doesn't pass the puck, so it's hard to get assists there. The back end, really. I mean, Petrie is a guy that creates, but again, Toffoli, if you're not playing with Suzuki, who, like you mentioned, has 12 points in 14 games, I still think he's the future of that team. I still think that's a really good signing. But when you come into the league and you're the skilled guy, but he's 20 years old, like it's one thing to be put in a situation like Troy Terry is playing great for Anaheim.
Yeah.
But he played a year and a half in the minors. He's playing with a future Hall of Famer and Ryan Getzlaf, who is playing pretty damn well at his age. And I didn't think Anaheim was going to bring him back, but yet to your point, he's insulated with other creative players, where Montreal just has a lot of kind of work hard, workman-like team that they had, similar to what they had last year.
Yeah, that's what I feel like as well. Like Montreal kind of seems like a point A to point B, and it's kind of just cycle the puck, try and get it to the defense, and then it's kind of bland hockey for the Canadiens right now up front. And I think they just got to juggle it up a little bit and kind of find that creativity, and I think offensive chances will start to come. It's tough, especially because they're outscored. I think they got one of the worst plus minuses in the league right now, I think. So it's tough, and I feel bad for Jake Allen, good New Brunswick boy, but he's got to help them out between the pipes too.
Yeah, he's played every game but two. Jesus, the guy's getting tons of looks. I'll give him that. He's getting his hockey DB is only rocketing up when it comes to usage rate. That's for sure. Romanov, like you, I'm a big fan. There's games I look at him, I'm like, he doesn't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah.
So half of that's on him. But I also look at Dominic Ducharme. I don't know what they have against Romanov, but last year in the playoffs, they got to the finals. So I can't really criticize them, but I will anyway, because it's me. You're playing Gustafsson, who, oh my God, how many times I looked at the TV and said, this guy's playing, or Kulak, who just made situational, stupid plays, like stepping up in the neutral zone when the puck's a foot away. Don't do that. But I don't know if this team just has a vendetta against Romanov. Like, they just don't want to have a good defenseman grow into their organization, but they've done nothing to help this kid since he's joined the organization. Like, nothing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know if it's like a Russian thing or if they have something against Russian defensemen, or I don't know what it is, but like, you had Andrei Markov in your system for,
15
eternity.
Years.
Yeah, eternity. It felt like, and he turned out to be a great defenseman for a few years while he was there. And the Canadiens were successful. I think if you give Romanov equal chance or equal opportunity to succeed or help him out, try and get his defensive game, stronger, then that's going to be stuff that helps him grow. And I think could be something that, like, he has the opportunity to be that new wave of Andrei Markov, so to speak. I think, like, I just see positive upside from Romanov's game. Like, yeah, he has his moments where you're like, what the fuck, like, Jake Muzzin moments and stuff like that. But, he's young defenseman. I think it's to come, but, compared to like guys like Bowen Byram, he doesn't have the same kind of offensive upside, but I think he's just got to learn to kind of run with what he's got, and he'll find his way up around the league.
Yeah. If you were Montreal, would you send him down to Laval with Caufield?
That's a tough one. I feel like right now with what the Habs have, I feel like he might be better off maybe in Laval, place where you can kind of go down and develop kind of in the background, not in the the big market, so to speak, where he's getting torched in Quebec media and stuff. So I think that might be a good idea, but I mean, I'm not going to say no to watching him play for the Habs. So
yeah, I agree there, but I do think it would probably help him because he's kind of like Caufield. He's lost his way a little bit, and
yeah,
he needs just a confidence boost, which I think he'll get down there. Before we move off the Caufield thing, did you see last weekend that the Utica Comets tagged him in a post about how he hasn't scored a goal in 17 games? dating back to last season. And his dad accused the team's Twitter page of bullying him.
No, I never seen this. No, this is news to me.
Yeah, this is basically like OBJ, but in reverse. Yeah, Utica Comets basically tag Cole Caufield and say, "Wait, you're in the AHL, bro," and it had like no goals in 17 games and amateur hour for sure. But then Caufield's dad just loses it, and he's accusing Utica of bullying him and picking on his 20-year-old son. So more and more dads are getting involved in this hockey thing, and it's not good, just in sports in general.
Yeah, that's a tough look. Your son's going to be in the NHL. Kind of just let his game do the talking. He'll figure it out. I'm sure there's going to come a time where Cole Caulfield is going to go, on a stretch of 5 games, probably with 8 or 9 goals. I think something like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So that's crazy though, especially like the Odell thing. That's Cleveland's better off without them.
Yeah, so. No, I wanted to ask you that. So let's pivot to that quickly. You a big Browns fan? Big game against the Patriots this weekend. That's the game I'm most excited to watch this weekend. But you got OBJ is now a free agent, still scouring where he's going to go. But are you happy that he's no longer a Cleveland Brown?
Yeah, I was ready to see him go. I watched a few games this year of the old Browns that I had on the TV and was able to get, and it was ugly. I was pretty frustrated and upset with what I seen. I expect a lot more out of this premier wide receiver, but it is what it is. Kind of on Baker too. He underthrown him a couple of times, overthrown him, but I'm on the Baker train. I'll ride with Baker. Fuck OBJ.
Yeah, you and State Farm. Him between State Farm and Progressive. I don't know if we could see more goddamn commercials with Baker Mayfield, but good for him for getting that bread. But I mean, come on, like
line the pockets.
Yeah, complete some passes first, bro. Where do you think is a good spot for OBJ to go?
Who cares? No. No, you were talking about possibly in Seattle. I think that'd be a good combo with him and Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
that'd be not a bad combo. Plus, if we ever get down to a cracking game or something, throw a salmon at him.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, catch it. Tell you that.
Yeah. Don't throw it to him on third down. We got to talk about the Leafs because I know you love to talk about them. One of your favorite teams. Yeah, a lot of Shay, co-host of the Breaking Bad pod, loves the Leafs. They get a win last night in Philly. I think they're 14 games in. They're second in the Atlantic. What do you make of the Leafs start to the season and how they're playing?
Yeah, they don't look too bad. I think I watched probably 2-3 games now. I think of the Leafs. They haven't looked too bad. I think I gave Marner a lot of slack start of the year, especially when the last podcast with Shay. I really hammered hard on Marner, and he's looked pretty good the last few weeks. I think he's really picked his game up. Matthews, on the other hand, kind of been struggling. Tavares out of the lineup last night. I'm surprised that the Leafs got a W. He's usually the backbone of that power play, and they were able to get a goal without the top 4 players in their salary. Andre Kasha scored a goal last night. Gotta love to see it. One of the guys outside that top 4. It's awesome.
I sense a hint of sarcasm.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Last night, I really watched 2 periods of that game last night before I started getting tired, and I was hoping that Philly was going to win. Before I even started watching the game, I was like, "Come on, this is the year. Carter Hart's going to be good." And you know what?
Pretty good last night.
He did really not bad, yeah.
Huh.
But every time I watch the Flyers, they fucking lose. It drives me nuts. I'm like, all right, here's going to be the night. Cole Giroux's going to get a goal. Sean Couturier is going to score. What's that other fellow there? The Konechny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his game, but, it's not there. The boys can't put the puck in the net. I don't know. It's ugly in Philly, but Toronto's on a little bit of a hot streak, and I'm happy for my boy Shea because his Dodgers struggled there last end of it. So I'm happy that one of his teams is a winner.
Yeah, well, so far,
For the time being.
regular season,
Strong regular season.
Yeah, they like to do that. When it gets to the other season, we'll have to wait and see. You talked about the Flyers. They're in the Metropolitan Division, currently led by the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, this team, what a start. Like I thought they'd slow down because I didn't love some of the moves their offseason. Frederik Andersen getting rid of Nedeljkovic. To be fair, Detroit's only a point behind Toronto. So Detroit's actually had a pretty good start to this. They're another little surprising team. Carolina is 10-1 in 11 games. They are Frederik Andersen, your boy.
Woo!
He's
9-1.
10 and he's got almost every win they got, man. He's just unreal so far this season. They beat Tampa the other night in overtime. What do you make of this team and kind of why are they having this much success?
I don't know. I remember the last time that we were on, or last time we were talking, I said that Carolina was going to be a surprise team at, to start the year. I think most of my conversation, I think last time was geared around Rob Brind'Amour and that role he brings in with his coaching ability. But I don't know. I think this team is just like it's an all around good team. I think the defense core is strong for what they have. I think everybody's kind of contributing. D'Angelo, scumbag here is looking great. He's looking 11 points. That's, right off the start of the year as a defenseman. That's pretty good. And Slavin's not far behind him, 8 assists. Pesce got 5 points. Ethan Bear got 4 assists. That's pretty solid on your back end right there. And then you have Svechnikov, Aho, Trocheck, and Teravainen. That's up front. That's a pretty strong group to go with. So I'm pretty surprised that 10-1. I mean, that's unheard of off the start of the year, right?
Yeah, no, it is. And like you said, their back end so well balanced. Freddie is playing at an elite level, 9-1 on the year. And it's funny what a goalie can do when you put some good defensemen in front of a guy. So it's good to see that validated because he was pretty good in Anaheim too. He actually got to a conference final. People forget that. But you look, they're just balanced. Like you said, their D-core, Jordan Staal. I mean, he's only got 5 points, but I watch Carolina a lot. He does so many little things. Like he plays is on the penalty kill. He's so aggressive and he works every shift. And, he's a 16-year NHL vet, but this guy wants to win another ring. Like he wants it desperately. Trocheck's another guy. He's point per game so far, but that bastard will work hard. Like he just goes, he battles. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder because Florida shipped him for Lucas Wallmark, which made no sense at the time and still makes no sense. But yeah, they just have kind of an underdog story team. Like you said, Brind'Amour is kind of that coach. And it doesn't matter who comes in. Seth Jarvis, a rookie, 2 points in 4 games. Like you said, Tony D'Angelo, the dirtbag of the NHL last year, kicked out of New York. He comes to Carolina. You don't hear a peep, and he's at a point per game. And this is an archaic stat, but if you watch Carolina, you can appreciate this. He's a plus 11. Like, and he makes a lot. He does a lot on the ice. Like, it's not just his pluses are throwaway numbers. This guy does a lot in the ice to contribute to Carolina getting offensive scoring chances.
Yeah, no, I think D'Angelo has been awesome this year, especially after everything that kind of transpired last year. I think I think his start's been awesome, kind of leading the way. And if you're in that market where you're like, he was in New York before, so you're in a well-populated market and it's pretty hot and heavy in New York. So you go off to Carolina. Things aren't as publicized there. You never see games on television unless they're playing the Leafs or something. So
right,
it's good for guys like that. Maybe they need a little bit of time away from the media or whatever. So, hats off to him. And I think if they can keep this train going, I think they're going to be a team that's going to be in the mix here come the playoffs.
Second place are the Rangers. They had a tough trip through Western Canada, but other than that, they've been really good. Chris Kreider's got 9 goals. He's just finding the this is what you want to see. This is the Chris Kreider. He's a traditional power forward now because he can skate. He's also tough, but he scores nice goals. So Panarin, Zibanejad's not having his slow start like you usually see, so that's also a positive. Washington in third, like you said, your Flyers in fourth, tied with Columbus, another little surpriser, and then my Devils tied with them as well. Between New York, Washington, and Philly, because we kind of view them as teams that are elite. Which team do you have the most faith in long term? Rangers, Caps, or Flyers?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I kind of think that just long term, I don't know how Hart's going to play out. I don't know what kind of year he's going to have. It's either he's going to be Team Canada standout and he's going to have that unreal year, or he's going to struggle. So for them, I think that's a tough question. I like Shesterkin with the Rangers. I think he's a good goalie. I think that they have the bread man, and everybody's kind of clicking on all cylinders there. And then Washington, they're kind of injury riddled kind of right now, but Ovi's off to a hot start. So, he's chasing that record and he's going.
Well, it's crazy. He's 36 years old. He's been in the league for a long time, 17 NHL seasons. He's had his best start of his career. It's years 18. He's had the best start of his career. I mean, the guy has 21 points. He's third in the NHL in scoring. And he's only got 2 penalty minutes. That's another thing that doesn't get talked about. He hits more than anybody. He's only got 2 PIMs. He's just a machine. Never gets hurt, plays. And that narrative that, Ovi doesn't do, well, he won a cup, so shove it. Jumbo Joe never won a cup. Did Marlowe, and they played every game, and Iron Man, whatever the hell else you want to say, he did it. But plus 9, 12, just 21. I mean, this guy, I would probably agree. I would probably say New York with you because I like their depth. I do think I like Shesterkin as well. I have more faith in Shesterkin than I do Hart at this point. I do think Hart can, I want him to find it because I feel bad for him. I mean, I had to kill him a lot in the podcast last year. I didn't love doing it. But when you're not playing well, I can't say you're playing well. I mean, that's lying. I'm not Aaron Rodgers. So I can't do that. I can't mislead. Washington, I worry about because I love Ovi, of course. When Backstrom gets back, Kuznetsov's also had a great start to the season, so that's promising. They don't have a third line center. Like they just sent Hendrix Lapierre back to the Titan yesterday, which is a smart move. He needs to play hockey to get better. Hopefully be at the World Juniors next month. But Connor McMichael, I don't love as a third line center. Lars Eller, I think, is more of a fourth line center at this point. So that's a hole I think they're going to need to address before the end of the year, and also a couple bottom tier defensemen, which they're always looking to add to the roster. Yeah,
no, it seems like the Caps always seem to find a couple of pieces for the back end. Like they brought in Brandon Dillon. Can't remember who else the other defenseman they signed was last year.
Yeah, well, they had Jensen, and then when they won the cup, they brought in Kempny. Yeah. So he was a big part of them actually winning the cup as well.
Yeah, no, I think if they can find a couple of pieces to kind of plug in, especially where most of your forwards are kind of on the aging side. TJ Oshie's aging, Nick Backstrom, Kuznetsov's not a young chicken anymore. He's still a very young man, but Ovi's still leading the charge over there, and I don't know how long that's going to go for, but if they can find a piece that fits into that third line where they can kind of have that check and roll, like it'd be interesting to see a trade between. I'm just thinking because I love this centerman. I know he could play the third line role because he did it 2 years in a row, one cup. Yanni Gord, I know if you could get that kind of piece of a player from the Kraken or something equivalent to that, I mean, then I think that the Caps can become, that you're gonna have to take them serious after that, because they're gonna have some serious depth up front, especially with a lot of the forwards that they've already had win the cup with them. So I think that it's scary.
Yeah, it's an intriguing for sure. You also got New York and Pittsburgh at the bottom. New York, I have more faith in than Pittsburgh when it comes to the Islanders, because they played all 10 games so far on the road. That's really tough to do. And Pittsburgh, they're depleted, but I thought they would miss the playoffs the first year in a while. So we'll see what they can do as the season goes on. Let's stick in the East with the Atlantic. Florida's in first place, 10-2-1 start to the season. Pretty hot, followed by Toronto, Detroit, Tampa. I look at Boston. They only got 12 points. They've had a slow start to the year. Any worries for Boston?
Not really. I think, given the division, I think kind of everybody's kind of getting used to the structure again, with not being the not so well liked or well taken East Division and North and whatnot.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that the Bruins are going to find their way. It's still early in the season. Everybody's got a little bit over 10 to 15 games in. So I think that the Bruins can figure it out. I'm not too worried about the perfection line. So what do you think?
I'm not worried about the perfection line. I mean, I love Pasternak. Marchand's had a great start. Bergeron, Pasternak will figure it out. He's too good of a player. I kind of worry about their depth though, because DeBrusk he needs to be moved. Like it's just not working. Maybe it's not Boston. Maybe it's not him. It's just not a perfect marriage there.
Yeah.
I know Edmonton wouldn't be able to afford him, but I think Edmonton did a lot to improve their depth when it comes to physical, and we'll talk about them, but he'd be good there. The way I like the way Jake DeBrusk plays. He plays on the edge. He can cross the line, but he doesn't cheat you for effort. But I look at DeBrusk, Charlie Coyle, Carson Kuhlman. I don't trust a lot of their depth forwards to produce. I think they're similar to Toronto in that sense, where I look at Richie and Kasha, like you said, big goal last night. Wayne Simmons, and Pierre Engvall. I think these teams have a lot of guys. I just look and I'm like, I don't know if they can be contributors on the bottom 6 of a team that can realistically say they're going to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, like how kind of the time is now for Boston.
Yeah.
It seems like as each year kind of goes on, it seems like it's starting to become, it's more seeable that it's going to be coming to the rebuild here soon. It seems like they're going to have to find those pieces to kind of bring up in their franchise. They're going to have to look at the way that Brad Marchand, David Pasternak, all these guys like Charlie Coyle, not Charlie Coyle.
Bergeron?
No, back end there.
McAvoy.
Yeah, like you got to see how these guys are pros, and you got to bring in guys to model their games after what Boston would consider their staple, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, So I don't know. I think that they can figure it out. It seems like a Boston thing to do. They'll find a way to overcome, but it's a tough division, and I think
for sure.
Biasly, I think that this is probably my least favorite division to watch.
Interesting.
I know. I don't know what it is. I like the West Coast divisions for some reason. I find that the games are so. I find they're more like just rough.
I love the Central. I love watching the Central. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been hard on the Pacific, I find, this year. I've been watching a lot of Pacific games.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that point. Like, obviously Toronto gets talked about the most. Even on this podcast, I know for viewership, I have to get my Toronto quota in every kind of pod every week, because that's, I'm not doing overdrive and doing 3 hours. I'm not going to talk about the same thing 3 times. And I do like that show. No shots, just there's other things going on.
Yeah.
But Toronto's not exactly the most entertaining team to watch to me. I agree with you. Florida would be the most entertaining for me in the Atlantic. They have a mix of everything. They're tough. Tampa, but like Buffalo, I'm not watching Buffalo. Like, I don't care. Like, hey, I don't care about watching them. Ottawa and Montreal are both so pathetic that it's really hard to watch either of them right now.
Oh yeah, that like the bottom half of that division I find is tough to watch.
Yeah.
But I do have to say this because I have been so critical of the Buffalo Sabres when I come on the podcast. I go at them so hard,
Yeah, you're not
and
welcome there.
no, definitely not. If the Cajulas and whoever owned the team see me, I'd probably be whacked. But
Yeah.
I'm on here now to say that I apologize to the Buffalo Sabres fan base. They started off hot, but things are gonna get worse. Just buckle up. It's gonna come. But for now, I'm sorry for being so critical, but it's gonna come.
But the next time you're on, I know you're gonna kill them.
Oh, hey, they do it to themselves. But I gotta tip my cap. You gotta tip your cap. They started off pretty hot. They got rid of
What'd you
Eichel.
think of the Jack Eichel trade?
I was surprised, really. A lot of people said, "Oh, well, they've been in talks for months and all this stuff." I thought that Calgary was going to sneak their way in and get him last minute. I just had that kind of feeling. I heard that Kachuk was kind of offered in there at the last minute. So
Give my
I
Brandon
seen,
Tanev to you.
yeah, I seen that kind of somewhere in the headline rumor or something. I don't know. I just thought it went that way, but I'm happy to see that Eichel gets to go get his back all fixed up, and he gets to go hang out in Vegas. Who wouldn't want to be him right now?
Yeah, he's supposed to have surgery tomorrow. So get his disc replacement surgery tomorrow, be back. If Vegas can figure it out, if they make the playoffs, he'd likely be back. So that'd be a hell of an addition.
So who comes back first, him or Tuck?
Tuck.
Yeah,
Tuck
okay.
should be back shortly after Christmas, I believe. So poor Alex Tuck. You go from being in Vegas, conference final, you're great, earned a good contract. You wake up one morning and say, yeah, hey, sorry, bud, you're going to Buffalo.
Yeah. Part of Bill's Mafia now. We're sorry. We're going to send you with the counselor. Just we'll PJ you down there and just take care, stay on the safe side.
Yeah, poor Alex Tuck.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, really.
I hope he gets flipped. I love Alex. I love watching Alex Tuck, and
he's
I'm
a
not
good
going to
piece
watch
for
any
someone that
Buffalo.
wants to go. He's a good piece.
Very, because that dude competes. He'd be great. Well, you said it's your favorite division, so let's go to the Pacific.
Oh boy.
And look at this. I mean, wild division. You got Edmonton number 1 with 9-2. They're hot as ever. Calgary number 2. Big shocker to me. The Anaheim Ducks, 17 points, tied for second in this division. San Jose, Jesus. LA. I mean, it's seeing Vancouver. Let's start with Vancouver. God, they disappoint me.
Yeah, it's tough.
They're 13 games in, 5-6-2, 12 points. So Elias Pettersson's been just a no-show for me. Too many nights. Honestly, the best forward for Vancouver when I watch them most nights is Connor Garland, because he just creates. But I know you're kind of you have a soft spot for the Vancouver Canucks in your heart. What have you made of their start to the season?
Yeah, another team in my repertoire that's just been struggling. Every team that I've been riding right now is just not off to a good start. But there have been some bright spots, I think. Like you said, Connor Garland, I think he's probably been the best addition to the team thus far. I like the way he's been playing with Podkolzin, I think is his name, the Russian. So I like the way they've been playing. I also think Miller's been playing pretty good up front.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
kind of drives the bus there, I think. So he's not the captain or nothing, but I think he kind of plays that leadership role and that veteran aspect. So I think he's going to be able to get these Besser and Pettersson going. I think it's gonna even out, I think, but it's just you can't dig yourself out of a hole after it's 25, 30 games, right?
Yeah, and you look at this team, and this is why plus minus is such a meaningless stat. You go through all these players; they're all plus. Like Garland's like a +5, and even Quinn Hughes is like a +6. You're like, okay, why isn't this team winning? Ekman Larson +3, but too many nights they score 2 goals and they give up 3. And I don't think Demko's been unreal so far this season, but I don't think he's been the problem either. I look at this team's defense core, and it's just flat out a problem. It's just not good enough. You look at it, Pullman, I like, but he's a fifth defenseman, realistically. Tyler Myers, I've never been a fan of, but they signed him. Okay. Quinn, his limitations, but he brings a lot offensively. But Hamonic, and Burrows and these guys that they have, I look at this defense core, and then I look at guys that just don't do enough offensively, man. Like Horvat's had a good start to the season, but I point to Pettersson, and too many nights you don't notice him on the ice. And him and Matthews have kind of had similar starts where I look at them, and at too many nights I'm like, you could have told me they didn't dress and I wouldn't fight you on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I watched a few, especially the games against Seattle when they started the season.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, he's not really noticeable unless he's in the offensive zone, and
Right.
even at then, it's more so only power play I find I notice him. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like he's just in a cold streak or a slump, or I don't know what it is exactly, but he's just got to kind of figure it out. He might be gripping the stick a little too tight, and yeah, I just think he'll find it out. He'll figure it out before too long. But it's just like I said, you can't dig your way out of a hole after 30 games.
Yeah, they need to find it quick. Like they got Colorado tonight. Colorado's another team we'll touch on that's not off to a great start. They're struggling right now. So that's a big game for both teams to get off the schneid and get the winning ways. San Jose, LA, and Anaheim. 3 teams we didn't expect much of this season. Of these 3, who do you think has the best chance of realistically competing for a playoff spot?
Out of Vancouver, LA, and
LA, San Jose, Anaheim. 3 California teams.
LA, San Jose, Anaheim. Well, it's tough. It's tough to say. The Kings have looked good as of late. They haven't looked too bad, I think, especially on their Canadian swing there. They just pounded the Maple Leafs, and then they took it to the Habs the next night. So it's tough. It's hard to bet against Drew Doughty and that crew. But for me, I think I might have to lean towards the Ducks. I think this year, I think they're like probably the biggest surprise for me besides the Red Wings, just on turnaround, I feel. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's also hard to rule out San Jose. Everybody's saying that Eero Karlsson's back because he's the Jesus like figure that people think he is. So our boy Dawson Warman be hooping and hollering about him having his start to the year. But
that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to go with Anaheim. Just they're big surprise, but I think they're on the right trajectory, and they got some good young guys.
Yeah, I would say Anaheim's best set up in net for sure. John Gibson's a legit number 1. Like there's no doubt about it. I mean, Getzlaf's got 12 points in 14 games. I mean, what a start for him. Adam Henrique's got 11 points in 14 games. So, even for him, he's a guy that's been buried the last couple of years. Shattenkirk has 12 points in 14 games. I mean, all these ball guys are just tearing it up. And then Troy Terry is, what a start for this kid, for
16
him.
points, 12 games. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Only game he never had a point in was the first game of the season, and then he's just been on a tear.
Right. And like I said, so many young players: Sam Carrick, Comtois, Drysdale, Bougru, Lundstrom, Mason McTavish, Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras. So I really enjoy watching Anaheim. I'm going to go with LA. Ooh. Not a whole lot of confidence in any of these teams, but I'm going to go with LA just because I like Iafallo's really taking a step. He's really, he's becoming a number 2 center. That's good. I like their kid, Rasmus Kupari. He played really well the other night. Kopitar is playing at an elite level. I think he had something to prove. So has Doughty until he got that greasy knee on knee that he had on him. So that should have been in suspension. But Danault seems to be playing with more of an edge. Again, I don't think any of them will make the playoffs, but I'll say LA just because I think they have a little more experience and a little more, been there, done that on this roster than the other 2.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that the experience could definitely help, especially with Kopitar. He's been off to a lead start this year, and he's kind of leading the charge. Another guy I like from the Kings, I thought he played pretty well the other night against the Leafs, especially was Athanasiou. I thought he played a pretty
Yeah.
good game. He scored a nice goal. I thought that was it Jake Muzzin that he went around to
Yeah.
score. I think it was. Yeah, just torched him.
Yeah.
He had a lot of speed. Nice pickup of the puck. Nice goal.
Looking at the top, we got Edmonton and Calgary. And Edmonton's, they're McDavid and Draisaitl are doing their thing, but to me, the bigger story, because they've always put up points, but it's the bottom of their lineup, the Fogels, the Cassian's being slotted correctly, the Derek, these guys that are in proper position to win. And I think that's the most important thing. You have goaltending still, a question mark for me, but Puljujärvi's taken a big step. Derek Ryan has been a good find at the bottom of the lineup. So they have a good mix of skill and toughness, and that really, bodes well for the Oilers long term.
Yeah, I've been surprised with how the Oilers have looked this far. I didn't expect to see them atop the Pacific Division. Obviously, Leon and Connor just do their thing. They're two of the best players in the world. But I think a lot of their success is going to come from the guys that are not Connor and Leon. I think Hyman's been having a great start to the year. Aaron H has been unreal, even for not scoring a goal, 14 assists.
Yep.
Like, wow. That's, tied with McDavid for assists. That's, if he starts scoring, then that's some good secondary offense after those two guys. So,
right.
Plus you have guys like Derek Ryan and Kyle Turris, Devin Shore, these guys that kind of bottom of the lineup grit kind of positions. I think this could be the year that the Oilers are successful, get into the playoffs. I hope so. It'll be nice to see. But my biggest surprise is the D-core. I feel like they've been playing pretty well, especially Nurse has been, I think he's the staple defenseman, I think, for Edmonton. I think he's what they envision in a D-man. So then there's Tyson Barrie. He's been, pretty on point as well this year. So what do you and Bouchard, I know you're pretty high up on him. It's about time that they
no, it's finally good to see him do something.
Yeah, it's good to see that finally paying out.
No, good for him. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I honestly good for him, because I haven't exactly been the biggest fan since the World Juniors and I can get World Junior fatigue. Like, I was right on Jake Virtanen when I watched him at the World. I knew that guy was going to be a bust, and believe me, he was. But Bouchard, he's an offensive guy. He's going to have his limitations defensively, but he's got 7 points in 11 games. That's great production. You mentioned Hyman's got 10 points in 11 games. But yeah, their D-core is really good. So I love Nurse, as you said. He's the anchor back there. Keith's been a really good addition. I like that trade when it first happened, and people are slamming it in the media. I think it's good for the team, honestly. And yeah, they just have good structure. Like, there's well balanced. They have good offensive guys. Nurse can play defensively. Like, he's a jack of all. He's a number one. That's what he's becoming. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to ask, we did our top players. We all had Draisaitl up high, but he's tied with McDavid for first in the league in points. Did we not give this guy enough love? Because I think he's been the best player to start this year. I think he's been better than McDavid personally. I know McDavid scored that, out of this world goal, but Draisaitl is just as good. He's won a Hart Trophy. He's won a Rocket Richard. He's won a Ted Lindsay. Like, this guy, and I just say we put players above him, and I think he deserves a little more respect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, did you see the story about him, what he said to the Rangers? They were down a couple goals, and he said, "Oh, don't worry, it's coming."
Really? I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, there was a story out that they were down, I think 4-1 or something like that, or 5-2 maybe, and they ended up coming back winning in overtime.
Yeah, they won 6-5. Yeah.
Yeah, Draisaitl sealed it too. So I guess he said to someone like, hold on because it's coming, and he ended up scoring the winner in overtime. But just some of the things that he's able to do, I think he puts the puck in spots where the puck shouldn't be going. And I think as a goaltender, I would hate to have that 1-2 punch up front coming down on you all the time, McDavid, and then next shift Draisaitl's coming at you. So I don't know. It's McDavid I find is so fast and flair, right? And
Right.
Leon I find just he finds a way to do it. He does it mainly on his own, but I mean their power play is lethal as well. So I mean that's where a lot of their points come. But both of them I find can just drive offense on that roster.
Other than taking goaltenders aside, is Draisaitl the second best player in the world?
Yeah, I would say I'd say he's up there for sure. Like there's not like other than Connor, I don't think you could put anybody else up there. I mean,
No.
like even without goaltenders, like it's tough. Like we both like I know not Connor. Nathan McKinnon's a huge he's high up there on that list, but I mean
He's never won a major award.
Yeah, that's it's tough to throw that kind of guy up there because he wants to win awards in the league and stuff. But I mean, at some point, Draisaitl might even overtake McDavid in skill or whatever. I find McDavid gets all the recognition because he's so damn fast.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he is. I think I even look back at myself. Like I think Seamus gave me the crook eye. I guess I had Matthews at 7. Like Draisaitl should have been higher for me. I think I truly think he's the second best. What he can do with the puck, his shot from his office there, like he's getting his own office on the ice, and he's so dynamic the way he plays with RNH. I really like the way the Oilers are coming together because they got 2 lines that can really produce.
Yeah, no, I'm hard on the Oilers too because I was a fan for such a long time and there was no success, so I gave up on them and I've decided to just cheer for players and whatever and
right.
Kind of lean towards the Habs, but I'm so happy that they're doing well, especially if we look at some of the goaltenders the goaltender from Minnesota that used to play for the Oilers, he's off to a hot start.
Yeah, not bad.
So, yeah, and I mean, when we were talking about with Seamus, how we had our top 10s, I don't even have him in mind. So I mean, I sleep on him. I mean, he's just that piece to the puzzle in Edmonton that you just have, and you're just so thankful. Like he's like a Leafs Mitch Marner. You're like, oh, thank God we got him. Holy shit.
Yeah. I feel like Neil Yakupov's selection by the Oilers was the nail in the coffin for your Oilers fandom.
Yeah, definitely. And then, just to listen to some of the stuff that's come out since he's ushered himself out of the league is just based on what he's done at the draft and stuff. I mean, some of the stories of spitting chicklets and stuff is just, foolish. But yeah, I'd say that was pretty much nail in the coffin for sure.
Let's pivot to the Central before we wrap today. So interesting division because obviously we got Arizona at the bottom. They are just atrocious. I feel bad for some of the players that are there because it's ugly.
Do you think Phil the Thrill gets moved before the end of the year?
I do. Yeah. I think a team will want him because he plays every night. We saw what he did in Pittsburgh. He should have won a Conn Smythe, but somebody from Nova Scotia had to be gifted one. So that's okay. We won't take that personally. He got his hot dog after he was okay with it. But
NHL, Nova Scotia Hockey League.
Yeah. And this is how bad, I'm just looking up some stats for everybody. Goals per game, Arizona last in the NHL. Goals against average, last. Power play percentage, second last. PK percentage, last in the NHL. This is how bad. Shane Gostisbehere leads this team in points. That just tells you all you need to know about this team.
The Ghost,
yeah, who they traded for cap space, if you recall, back in the summer
for $0.
Yeah. Colorado being 6th with only 9 points in 10 games is the biggest shocker to start the year for me. Not going to get any easier. They got Canucks tonight, and yesterday we get the news Nathan McKinnon's out 3 weeks. It's trouble brewing in Colorado right now because I hate their defense score. I've talked about that the last couple of days, and it's just big on Landeskog, Rantanen. Kadri's actually had a really good start to the season, but these guys even need to take it up another level because they don't have their best player on their roster.
Yeah, no, they gotta kick it into overdrive, especially with McKinnon out of the lineup. Yeah, and injuries aren't helping these guys, definitely for sure. Because
Yeah,
McCarr's out, that's a huge loss. He's fifth.
back tonight.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, back tonight.
Perfect. So yeah, no, then I retract that statement. He's gonna be out there lighting it up tonight against the Canucks, and everything's gonna be back to normal. Hopefully him and Bo and Byram can just go out there and do their thing. But I think, we have these guys as a, potential cup favorite last year. This is the year that they're going to get over the hump, and they're struggling out of the gate. So
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if they can turn it around.
Yeah, and Dallas is right above them. Dallas, terrible start to the season. God. But Winnipeg is tied with Nashville, surprising me. Johansson's actually playing hockey again, which is nice to see.
Same with
Duchesne, yeah, these old guys that are on terrible deals are finally playing hard. So good to see for Nashville. Yeah, yeah. Winnipeg. I know me and you both like Winnipeg is the best team in Canada before the start of the season. Shea, obviously, I think had Toronto, no surprise there. But I think we're starting to see Winnipeg really start to play. Kyle Connor is off to a great start. Morrissey's playing great hockey. They lost to the Blues the other night, but it went to the gimmick. So, it's basically a win in my opinion. They got the Sharks tonight. But I think the Jets are starting to come into their own, and they're a threat every night.
Yeah, no, I think just based, like, remember when we were talking about the Canadian teams and who we had ranked, is just they look like they're the most well-built team.
Yeah.
But obviously, not Montreal, Edmonton and Calgary are both. Calgary, I don't understand how it's going on, but
me either.
I mean, it's good to see. It's all three of them are starting to get into that competitiveness, and I think if all three of these teams have just a big rivalry and a big hate on, then there's going to be some good games coming down the stretch. And anytime that these guys meet, I think it'll be you got a must-see TV.
It's fun when it means something.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. And I think that's kind of why I like the West Coast division. I think a little bit more. Some of these teams have a little bit more of a hate on, and like you got the California division, like LA, San Jose, Anaheim. These guys hate each other. You want to see them go in and run each other through the boards, and that's what I'm all about. I like to see the rough game, so that's what I look for. And yeah, I just think that it's going to be a toss-up in this division, I think.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis is off to a great. I think St. Louis is really good, but Minnesota, they're great as well. I mean, you mentioned Cam Talbot. He's off to a 7-2 start. I mean, it's crazy. You look at their team, Ryan Hartman, he's another guy who's just a big checking forward, leads their team in goals. Joel Eriksson Ek leads them in power play goals. Like, they just have a lot of depth on this team. Kaprizov's a great player, but they have a lot of depth. Marcus Foligno, my boy, has got 5 goals already, 9 points. Their defense has been together for a long time, so it's not like they're trying to figure out what each other like to do on the ice. Spurgeon's been there for a decade. You look at Goligoski's new, but Dumba's been there. Brodin. The meat of their defense core have been there for 5 years plus. I think that really helps the team early in the year, and they're bringing both goalies back. So it's nice to have some familiarity when you start a season.
Yeah, definitely. I think for the West Coast, I think this might be one of the more balanced teams. I think they have so much depth up front. Like Kaprizov is electric. I find his game is good. If he can start scoring a little bit more, I mean, you'll never say no to that. Last night, I think he scored. I thought it was pretty funny the way he scored last night. The one touch passes behind the net with Zuccarello and the quick tuck, but. Their decor is pretty solid too. Like Dumba's been there for a while. Goligoski's almost got 1,000 games. Spurgeon just does everything correct. So it's hard for teams to get by these these defensemen, but I think the goalies are the 1-2 punch. I think is a huge thing because you need that strong goalie in the back for the games where your number one can't go, right?
Right. And let's look at St. Louis quickly. You mentioned balance. I mean, they got balance out the wazoo because they have Bennington's playing at an elite level again. I think if Price is not able to go for the Olympics, I think he's Team Canada starter myself. I think that's who I would have in the net. But you look like they just have great, Barbashev's got 7 points. That's a fourth line player with 7 points. You got Jordan Kyrou. It's good to see that. I think this guy's had a ton of potential before. We saw him at the World Juniors. He's 12 points, 11 games. Good to see him really break through. O'Reilly's been dinged up, but he's got 5 and 7. So again, it's just Perron, 11 and 11. I mean, the guy just, when he's in St. Louis, he plays damn good hockey. Saad's got 5 points in 7 games. Tarasenko's got a point per game average so far. Robert Thomas got 8 and 11. So there's no wonder these teams are at the top of the division. This is why, because you have balance. The one team that you could really not point to is Toronto, but they're in second. But Florida, Minnesota, it was St. Louis who's back by a point, Edmonton, Carolina. These teams are built teams. They're teams. It's not based on individuals. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me so far, Case, is that these teams that are winning, these teams are at the top of the divisions. That's why they are, because they're getting balance across the board.
Yeah, definitely. And you could tell that like there's a drop off in some of the teams, right? Like you see these guys that a lot of the teams have individual players that can kind of carry the teams, but the teams that are well built are the ones that are going to get they're the ones that are off to the hot start.
Right.
That's what I feel like. And I think some of these teams that are off to a hot start, like Minnesota's 9-3, Edmonton 9-2, Florida 10-2-1. Yeah. That's these are unreal records, and I'm hoping that these kind of 4 teams can kind of run through the year. And imagine like some of the playoff rundowns in these divisions. Like I hope Tampa gets in, has a chance to defend their title. I want to see them play against Florida. I want that.
Me
division.
Too. I want that. I need that. I need that.
And who's going to say no to Edmonton, Calgary, or Edmonton, Winnipeg in the playoffs? Yeah. I mean, I know we've seen it last year
but even Minnesota, like Minnesota, and Minnesota's, they got some tough bastards on that team. Like Minnesota, St. Louis would be a great playoff series.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like chuck them 2 teams against each other, and then Calgary or Edmonton against each other, and let them go off to the conference final, and that's another war in and of itself. So I don't know. I think we're going to see some good hockey this year, and I'm hopeful that these kind of top dogs can keep running. And I'm interested to see how Leon and Connor finish up for points wise.
Have you looked at your phone yet? If you do, please don't, because I have some breaking news.
No, I didn't look.
Okay. This is not hockey related, but it is breaking news. Odell Beckham Jr. has signed. Do you know where he went?
Yeah, I just seen.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll break it right now, but Odell Beckham Jr. is decided the team he's signing with. He is joining the Los Angeles Rams. He is now a member of the Rams, joining Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee. They released Deshaun Jackson. He's now a Ram per Adam Schefter of the mothership. So Odell is now playing in La La Land for the Los Angeles Rams. So a big move for the Rams. And now, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp have been a great connection all year. You could argue the best in the NFL. But now Beckham is joining that group and in the spotlight once again.
Yeah, geez.
I didn't see this one coming, I'll be honest.
No, yeah, like you said, I don't remember if it was today or yesterday. I listen to the pods every time they come out as soon as they drop. A super fan, not a big deal. But yeah, I kind of thought he was going to end up in Green Bay.
Yeah,
he struggled. Green Bay. I know I texted you the game against the Chiefs was so sloppy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think if with him and Rodgers and Odell would have been so fun to watch. But yeah, now we got to watch him with the Rams. It's, he just gets to pick wherever he wants to go because that's, the Hollywood treatment that Odell gets. And you gotta love it, eh? Just like the Tom Brady effect. Fuck.
Oh, no resentment there from a Cleveland fan. But yeah, OBJ to the Rams. They play Monday night, so they actually maybe he plays. I could get a couple days of practice. That would be a hell of a way to start your career as a Ram. Monday Night Football, solo stage. Sounds like OBJ to me. But interesting move for sure. I mean, I've been a fan of the Rams. They've been kind of my Super Bowl pick from the NFC all year. I'm interested to see what Matthew Stafford can do with him, because that's a big move for sure. Case, great pod today. Dived into a lot of stuff in the NHL, talked some football here with OBJ. What do you got? What's on the horizon for you? What's coming up on the agenda?
Not a whole lot. Just kind of laying low, sitting in the back shadows, trying not to bring any attention to my name. Getting some treatment done on the back. Got to get that golf swing fixed up. So maybe be in the PGA 2 or 3 years time if everything goes well. So
Senior
getting
tour.
that taken care of. Yeah, getting that taken care of. And other than that, just with Hill, and that's it. Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders. I like it.
Yeah.
How's the back?
Not bad. We're making progress. Yeah, we're making progress. It's we can get out of bed and we're getting through the day. So life's good.
Physio a couple times a week, or?
Yeah, I was there 3 times this week, and I gotta go back 3 times next. So
Jesus.
yeah, we're making some progress. I'm too young to be an old man, so we got to get that figured out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're only 24. Come on now.
yeah, I know. And I was walking around like I was 65. So
Yeah.
it's we're making progress. Definitely.
Well, if the golf bag's wearing you down, we'll have to get you a cart, a little
Yeah.
mobilized one for you. But no,
To the
I
point,
always,
might have to pay for a caddy fee there or something.
yeah, okay. Well, we could discuss that. We can work that out here. We can work that out. But Casey, always fun talking to you, man. I know I appreciate you taking the time on a holiday to chat with me, but a pleasure as always, and we'll do it again real soon.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Jug. Always love jumping on, talking sports. It's best thing in the world. So whenever you want me, you just give me a text and I'll make myself available.
Awesome. Well, thanks again to Casey and everybody. I'll be back tomorrow to chat with Matt Wright about Week 10 the NFL. I'm sure we'll talk some OBJ. We'll rant about college football and anything else that got on our nerves this week. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk soon.